Take my advice. Broads don't belong in broadcasting.
Shut up and sit down.
And here we are. Welcome, everybody who's listening. Today we are not going to make a phone call. We are going to try and have a little bit of a celebratory roundup of good news that has been very encouraging over the past couple weeks, and, you know, focus on the positive this week. And then next week we will be taking a break because I will be on vacation. But yeah, so this week we're going to talk about good shit. Yay!
Yay!
For good shit. My name is Natasha.
I'm Karen.
And I'm Sarah.
So,
go ahead and ask me what I'm thankful for.
What are you thankful for, Karen?
Don't say anything until you tell me what you're thankful for.
First Amendment.
You hear about that? You hear about that?
Oh my goodness.
That's the right answer.
Until you're thankful.
What happened?
Little Huckabee lady wouldn't let anybody ask any questions until they told her what they were thankful for, like they're in kindergarten.
Yeah.
What? When was this?
Yesterday, I guess. And
oh my God, I'm so sorry that I missed that.
Yeah, the reporter answered the First Amendment, and she's like, yeah.
Oh, snap!
Bang!
That is the best thing I've... Oh, that's really good. That's almost as good. Did you guys hear Danica Rome, her response?
Yes. Genius.
Of those of you who haven't heard this, someone asked her about her opponent. Danica Rome is a trans woman who won up against a serious homophobe and is now a congresswoman.
Yeah.
What's that?
Who introduced the bathroom bill. And somebody was like, so do you have any words to say about your opponent? And she said, I don't attack my constituents. Bob is my constituent now, which is just the most beautiful thing that's ever happened.
I love people.
Oh, no, see, this is why I can't be in politics, because that's not how I would have responded. But that's so much better than anything I could have said. So yeah.
The arc of history bends towards justice.
Sorry, Bob.
All right, so that's my little contribution to the good news roundup is Danica Rome, and she is the first trans woman to serve in a state legislature, which is the coolest. So,
well, and what I really appreciated about her campaign is she did not make her campaign about being trans at all.
Nope.
Like, she was like, I think she said that she got into it because of traffic problems. Like, just so normal. And, like, it's just really nice to see some freaking normal stuff. Like, yeah, traffic sucks. Like, people should run because traffic sucks. Like, that is awesome. And, like, that just makes me really happy.
Instead of it being like, well, you know, I just kind of want to burn it all down. It's like, well, you know, I'd just like to get to work on time. Oh, well, very reasonable. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's aces in my book.
Those of you who get the newsletter, you would be getting a little bit of a preview of everything as well. So y'all should sign up for the newsletter, because I have all kinds of articles in there for you to read more about each one of these things. Which one do you got, Karen?
Well, I thought we could do chronologically. I could do the two that happened since the election.
Okay.
So Tuesday, first Tuesday of November, election day, as it always is. But since then, there's actually been two more elections, and that's where I want to start. So in New Orleans, a African-American woman, Democrat, was running against another African-American woman, Democrat. So one of them won. And she seemed great.
So that's exciting. That's their first woman mayor, I think. So that's great. Go New Orleans. Nice choice. In Oklahoma, this one is especially great. Republican Brian O'Hara got beaten by Allison Eclay Freeman, a 26-year-old lesbian who was running in a district where Trump won 67% of the votes.
Wow.
She won by 31 votes. So votes matter.
I didn't know it was that close. That's crazy.
Go out there and vote. Deep red Oklahoma just, elected this fresh young face. And she looks amazing. I think
26 years old. Wow.
I think she's going to do a great job and change the people's minds. So I'm completely excited about that one.
Mm-hmm. And the new mayor of New Orleans, just real quick, is LaToya Cantrell. Because I don't think we mentioned her name, so I just want to say that.
Yes.
But yeah, 26. I need to get my act together. Oh, God.
You can take it that way, or you can go. So where do you want to go from there? We can talk about all the amazing things that happen on Election Day.
Let's do that. That's my favorite.
Okay, and Sarah can offer color because I know that she is down with this stuff. All right, so we included in the newsletter a photo of Braxton Winston, who's just was a protester, sort of a Black Lives Matter, stop killing our children kind of guy. And so he had his photo taken after the shooting of Keith Lamont Scott in North Carolina. And the photo went viral. So he's shirtless and he's got his hand up and he's just standing in front of a bunch of, cops with clubs, looking like he's having none of it. And it's a great photo. And that's why it went viral, because it just looks like, yes, we can, it just gives one courage. It's inspirational. Mm-hmm. So that went so well, he realized that maybe he had more of a voice than he thought, and he decided to run, and he won a seat on the Charlotte City Council. So that's how you're going to change police policies. Get on the freaking city council.
That's so amazing.
Oh, way to go, Braxton.
I really wish that I could be in his head and see if he had any idea that he would actually win. Did he just go, I'm just going to do it because, I probably won't win, but I really should be doing something. And I feel like that's a good stand to take. And then was he like, oh, or was he ready for it? Was he like, yeah, I think I'm going to win this, because I always think of when it's like a kind of meteoric jump like that it might just kind of be almost panic inducing a little bit,
Could be. It's city council. He's not president of the United States. But
no, but it's just
it's awesome, and it's right at the right level for him to affect change. So that's good stuff. Also, New Jersey elected their first Sikh mayor in Hoboken. Kansas, Topeka, Kansas, elected their first Hispanic mayor and their first lady, or their second lady mayor. Lisa Middleton, a transgender candidate, won city council in Palm Springs. In fact, there were 7 transgender candidates who won different positions across the country.
Cool.
So, that's not nothing. Seattle elected its first openly lesbian mayor. Midgeville, Georgia got their first female mayor. Statesboro, Georgia, Cairo, Georgia, Georgetown, South Carolina, all elected their first African-American mayors. Kathy Murillo was elected the first Latina mayor of Santa Barbara. So just diversity across the board is completely exciting to see.
Yeah,
so just all kinds, first ladies, love that. And I really feel like there's this rising tide of women running. And, back in the day when the Women's March happened and people were like, well, that's fine, but what's going to come of it? It was very exciting and we were all pumped up, but what is that going to matter? Mm-hmm. Well, it inspired some people to run. Mm-hmm. And that's how you win, is if you run. So in Virginia, they didn't even run candidates last time. This time they ran candidates in all 100 places, in all 100 districts, right? And it made a huge difference.
They didn't even run candidates, so just whoever was in there just stayed?
They had lots of unchallenged candidates.
Wow, that's...
Not this time.
Awesome. I love that. Shaking it up.
These sisters are stepping up. Sarah, do you have a favorite story you'd like to insert before I barrel on with more good news?
Yeah, well, I had a couple things. So one of my favorite story is Chris Hurst won a delegate seat in Virginia, and he is the former boyfriend of Allison Parker, who was the woman who was shot live on TV.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and, her death and all the shooting and guns around it really motivated him and to make a difference. And he beat out, I think, a second-term incumbent. Maybe it was his third term. I'm not sure. Who was a Republican. And that's just really awesome and, like, making lemons out of lemonade kind of thing. So that made me really happy. And then I also was just really happy with how Virginia turned out for the gubernatorial race.
Gubernatorial?
Yeah.
It just sounds completely made up to me.
Right. Yeah, the gubernatorial election. That just made me happy because it's kind of showing that people won't just, like, take lies at face value and believe them, and, like, spreading a whole bunch of fucking bullshit is not actually going to get you elected. So, like, maybe try to be a better person instead of, like, smear campaigns.
And it's nice that it wasn't actually close.
What's that? I missed both of what you said.
It's nice that it wasn't actually close.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, people saw the shit for what it was and called it. So that was pretty great. Those are the two things that made me the most excited last couple weeks ago, I guess now.
That is fantastic stuff. And yes, it's nice to see a gun control guy beat out an NRA endorsed candidate when he's got a story that you just can't argue with.
Yeah.
Good on him. All right. So in New Hampshire, a Democrat named Charlie St. Clair won a special election. So this isn't election day. This is before. When Robert Fisher was forced to resign. Robert Fisher started the Red Pill Forum on Reddit.
Right, that guy.
And that is one of the worst places on the internet for misogyny and general badness. And he had posted, women have subpar intelligence and things like that. So when he was outed as this is the real person behind this, and it turned out he was a legislator, people went loopy. So they brought him up and did an ethics thing, and then they decided that he hadn't broken any specific rules, so they couldn't actually kick him out. But then the pressure after that forced him to resign anyway, and he was all irritated, saying that his comments about, I had a quote, about how he had videotaped every time he had sex so that he couldn't get accused of rape. He said that got taken out of context. And
yeah, that's, context would make that better.
So he had won his last race by 12 points. That district, Trump had won by 17 points, and Republicans have a 12-point registration advantage. But a Democrat won that seat away from him by 12 points.
Nice.
So that's another one where like, no, we're done with that.
I think a lot of people, they are like, I think there's still a bit of a mentality out there that internet trolls and Facebook trolls and whatnot are just part of like the badness of the internet, and just don't feed them, don't worry about them. And you forget they're real people who are out there with real jobs doing shit that affects human beings. And it's like, the guys who were carrying torches, it's all of them have a job. And if they work in mortgages, or if they work in any business where they get to decide whether someone gets hired or gets a loan or gets
right.
Just trying to separate these people out as just being trolls, like they're not real people, it's a really outdated mode of thinking, I think. So yeah, having that be brought to the fore like that with this guy being a legislator, like it doesn't get much more black and white. And and the way he like continued to dig in on it, like, you know, it was just so good. Yay. Good. Good.
We slapped him down.
Yep.
And then looking to the future for a little bit of like optimism going forward. Ballotpedia does this great thing every day, Rasmussen's number of the day. And so November 20th, yesterday, the number was 1,884. That's how many candidates have filed or publicly announced plans to run for Congress in 2018, which is a lot. There are 1,079 Democrats running, 662 Republicans running. So that gives you an idea of just like this flood of people who've decided they're just going to run. They're just going to run. And 143 third-party candidates, which seems like a lot. So that's amazing. The House elections feature 23 Republican seats potentially at risk in districts won by Clinton, and then 12 House seats are held by Democrats where Trump won. So that's, of course, in the Senate, it's the opposite. And there is one Republican senator running for re-election in a blue state, and that's Dean Heller. There's 10 Democratic incumbents seeking re-election in red states, so that's a killer. So the Senate side is a lot harder. But nonetheless, look at all the candidates for people who are going to run. So exciting. And for the special elections we've had so far, Democrats have gained 13 seats and lost one. And that one, they didn't run anybody. It was in Louisiana.
Oh.
So all of the seats that have changed in special elections because people got picked, like, for example, Jeff Sessions was chosen. He resigned from the Senate. They're now having an election to replace him. Some judge, I don't know, in Alabama. And so, you know, then that will vacate a different seat or whatever. So all that trickle-down stuff leads to a bunch of special elections. So Republicans have kept many of their seats, but they only picked them from the reddest places in the country. And they lost 13 seats.
Man. Oh, good. I feel like there's a combination happening, like, you know, people waking up and realizing that, oh, maybe I'm qualified to run, because I think that's a lot of it is people think that you have to have worked in politics or gone to school for it or something very specific. And then they realize like that's not actually the case. And then people who are finding out that, oh, people will vote for crazy people because there are times where you just trust that, you know, common sense will win the day. I'm not thinking about the presidential election at all. And so you just don't really worry about it because you figure most people are sane, right? And they will see that this person is unbalanced and delusional and also a rapist and just terrible.
I feel like you're veering off of the good news angle.
But I am like, I'm really happy that people are starting to be like, oh, you know what? If I want this to go the way I want this to go, I'm going to actually have to get up off my ass.
I would be better than that guy.
What's that?
I would be better than that guy.
Right? Like, yeah. And not only would I be better, but just like as a voter, I think, you know, the local elections were not getting very much attention. Mm-hmm. People just didn't even know when they were happening a lot of the time, you know? And that's just so cool that there's like, oh, somebody won by 31 votes? That's like banana pants. Like, that's just...
They're still recounting votes in Virginia. They still don't know if they managed to take the House.
Wow.
But if Danica Rome can go out and shake hands and do all this stuff, if she's brave enough to do that, we should all be brave enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is absolutely inspirational.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, all right, everybody who's declared their intention to run, go you. We're on your side. All you ladies who are thinking about it, do it, or find somebody to support. we all should find somebody to support if we're not, can't run ourselves, because we're not nearby. Yeah. So awesome. Keep it up.
Yeah. And I want to double down on that and do something for, like, help somebody else's campaign, because there's still, like, a lot, like, low awareness for local elections. So if you can jump in and just give out flyers or make calls or anything to get people to just see your candidate, they might not even know that there's an election coming up, you know, or on the day of, just encouraging people to go vote, because they might be completely unaware that this is happening today, and they get to take their time off from work to go. So mostly, depending on the job they're in. So yeah, guys, let's do this. I'm going to try and get volunteer for, it's Beto in Texas. It's going to be running up against Ted Cruz, I think, but his name is so strange. I'm going to have to.
If you can, if we don't have to hear that stupid voicemail anymore from Ted Cruz.
Oh my God. That fake bedside manner.
So if in fact Judge Roy Moore loses his election, then there are 2 seats that the Republicans could lose, and that is in Nevada and in Arizona. Then that would give the Democrats the Senate, if all of the red state Democrats can hold on.
Okay.
And so if we get the Senate, then no more judges. Then no more confirming absolute idiots as people to run the EPA and whatnot. No more tax reform. No more Obamacare repeal and replace. None of that. So, yes, the Senate would be amazing. Here's the 10 people who are in danger. If you live one of these places, help them in some way. John Tester in Montana, Claire McCaskill in Missouri, Bill Nelson in Florida, Joe Manchin in West Virginia, Debbie Stabenow in Michigan, Heidi Heidkamp in North Dakota, Sherrod Brown in Ohio, Bob Casey in Pennsylvania, Joe Donnelly in Indiana, and Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin. If you are in a position to help any of those people, or you just want to send them all $5, then, you know, we need to defend those, and then we need to win in Arizona and Nevada. There was never a third opportunity. If we win in Alabama, then there's a real chance, and then all of that, you should do everything you can. We should all do everything we can. That will stop the judges, and I don't know what else we do about the judges.
Oh, the look of like weirdly terror basically on your face. I don't know what we do about the judges. We'll cross that bridge, but we have a lot to do in the meantime.
But there's hope. There's like an actual possibility that the awfulness could maybe get, you know,
mitigated
a little bit. So, thank you, women who are standing up and saying me too. Thank you, women who are running. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for the courage. Thank you, Danica Rome.
All right, Sarah, did you want to add anything else before? She's so quiet, guys, because she's not feeling good today. So she's just smiling and nodding and generally being a sunbeam.
Yeah, I mean, I am very thankful for how things have been shaping up the last couple weeks, and just a little bit more faith in humanity than I've been having throughout the year. That's been a really nice thing, and especially like with all of the sexual assault and that kind of stuff going on right now, I've been really inspired and thankful for seeing other women stick up for other women everywhere, and also men. But just, you know, standing up for what's right and calling people on their stuff when they deserve to be called on. And it makes me, I'm freaking ready for 2018. Let's go. Let's get 2017 over with.
Same. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for listening. And thank you, ladies, for being here. And thank you, Karen, for doing a bunch of research and legwork on these. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.